warning, there are some spoilers in the videos used to make this, mainly from NieR and Chrono Trigger. Music that is memorable versus atmospheric. First, let's break down exactly what that means, at least how I'll be interpreting it through this video. Memorable is something that can be easily remembered. This would be like a main theme for a game or some sweet boss music. It's something that you hear when you think of the game. An example for me would be Digital Devil Saga's hunting song, as it has a distinctive intro and beat and is the main battle theme. Atmospheric, on the other hand, is music that invokes a certain emotion, meaning the songs are more inclined towards romance, sadness, all that stuff. It creates a mood for those particular scenes where it plays. An example for an atmospheric song is the song from Final Fantasy VII, The Great Warrior, as you feel Red 13 change as a character during the scene, as well as it being kind of sad. Defining my personal songs I claim to be memorable and atmospheric might not be the same as someone else, which is totally fine, as certain songs in certain games are more memorable to me than others. Some may classify a song as atmospheric and not so much memorable. It is a hard thing to pinpoint, but I personally find that high-paced music, such as battles and boss themes, tend to be more memorable songs as you hear them repetitively. Thus, you remember them easier. Sometimes games have one but not the other. For example, Bloodborne, there are plenty of memorable songs from the various bosses you fight. The atmospheric music is scarce and is usually replaced by howling, wailing, and sound effects rather than the music. Hopefully I've cleared up a few variables in this question of my thoughts on memorable versus atmospheric music, as it is a question with a lot of what-ifs behind it. As I mentioned before, memorable songs are great as you hear them constantly and generally represent the game as a whole for you. Either that or it embodies a moment within the game that had a huge impact on you. Sometimes it's just music itself that wows you and makes you want to hear it constantly, which would be the case for me when listening to Lone Bird in the Shire from Wild Arms. As I am a huge fan of Western music, and it is heavily based off of Ennio Morricone's The Ecstasy of Gold from the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly film. Definitely look it up if you're interested. But wait, sometimes memorable songs only play once or twice, and you don't hear them a great deal. So was what I said entirely bullshit before? Well, there are definitely different memorable songs for different people, like the wow factor in my Wild Arms song. The music may be so amazing and appeals entirely to your taste. The one memorable song could also encompass the entire game and deliver the best representation of that game. An example of this for me would be World Revolution from Chrono Trigger. Let's go on to atmospheric music now. Atmospheric music doesn't necessarily have to bring out an emotion. Sometimes just the overworld map music is good enough, as it sets the tone for the journey and is sometimes a game's core choice of music. Games from the Elder Scrolls series need atmospheric music to give life to the world you traverse through. Now we're at the point of discussion where memorable and atmospheric gets mixed up often. During emotional or intense scenes that usually involve one person dying or something drastically changing, such as the case in NieR using Emil's Sacrifice song, which is played during any sad and emotionally charged scene. Would it be considered memorable? That's really up to the listener.
I understand now why we're twins. It's because we were born without souls. Devla! I can't stop the bleeding. Oh God, I can't stop it. This world is too lonely for one without a soul.
So which do I prefer? Well, memorable basically holds all of my personal favorite songs, as they are what I imagine when I think of a certain game. On the other hand, without atmospheric music in a slew of video game genres, it would be bland and feel strange having only hardcore music blasting all the time. While Bloodborne can do this with some ease, it's a game that uses sound. Most RPGs rely on town music, sad music, and whatnot, as there isn't a lingering background noise that would make the game feel incomplete and boring, without some sort of music. With that, both memorable and atmospheric are important in making a game. I like all sorts of music, so for me, to choose one and not the other is just kind of impossible. Some of you might find it easy to decide, but for me, I love too many songs from games.